Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome back to another exciting tutorial. Today it is a programming tutorial, not 3D tutorial. We're going to add an Apache Superset configuration file and add feature flag in a Dockerized Superset setup. This tutorial is based on a request from my YouTube channel. This is also a continuation of the Dockerized Apache Superset installation tutorial from my YouTube. Make sure to check out the previous tutorial and the link should be available in the description box. First, we need to run Docker. I can see that my superset is already running in Docker. Let's open the terminal to find the WSL instance through which we installed Superset. By the way, today I'll be using the Warp AI terminal. If you want to use the Warp AI terminal, you can check the description box, or I will provide a QR code so that you can download the Warp terminal. Let's check the available WSL instances by running WSL-L. I can see I have several WSL distros. If I go to my Docker desktop setting under resources and WSL integration, I can see that Ubuntu 22.04 is enabled. So this confirms that this is the distro that we have used to install Apache Superset. Now we need to run the distro. And you can see my Warp AI terminal is already suggesting it for me. I'll just hit right arrow to autocomplete and then hit enter. And I'm inside the distro. You can press Ctrl+Shift+K to clear the terminal history, or you can run the clear command too. Since we're inside the WSL distro, I can run pwd command to see the current directory. I need to go to the home folder, so I'll run the cd command. Now if you run the pwd command again, it will confirm that we are in the home directory. Next, run the ls command and I can see I have two directories here. One is hello and another is superset. I actually installed superset in this superset folder in our last tutorial. So let's navigate to the folder by running cd space superset. Now if you look at the Docker desktop, my superset container is already up. I'll down the container in Docker as instructed in my blog post so that we all can start from the same point. So I'll run docker compose down. You'll see all the containers are stopping one by one. Okay, so we have stopped all our container. The next step is to bring up these container again, just like in my blog's instruction using docker compose up. And as usual, my Warp terminal is already suggesting me the command as if it is already knows the next command I need to run. This is why I love Warp terminal. I'll just hit right arrow to autocomplete and hit enter. Now the containers will run one by one. We need to give it some time for the containers to run. And here you can see them running one after another. So all our instances are running. We'll run the Superset app from here. It is running on two different ports. I'll use the port 8088 for the web application. Please log in with your default admin user and password. If you are confused about the default credential, you can check my previous blog post and tutorial. I'll link those in the description box. Okay, so our Superset is running and we will start from right here. I have set the dark theme earlier. You can switch to light theme if you want. Let's move on to our blog post to check the next step. We'll start by creating the configuration file. A common question is what to place this file in a Dockerized setup. For Docker Compose setup, the file should be named superset_config_docker.py and placed it in a folder that is on the Python path, which is typically the docker/python-path_dev folder. Let's open the VS Code. Here I'm going to the Remote Explorer. These steps were also covered in my previous tutorial. All my WSL distro appear here. We want to connect to the Ubuntu 22.04 distro and the Superset directory within it. Now that I am connected to the distro, I will click Open Folder and select the Superset folder. The full folder is open. We need to create the file inside the Docker folder. within the python_dev folder, and we need to create a file with the specific name, which is superset_config_docker.py. If you are used to working with Docker, you might be thinking that you need to add this new file to the Docker Compose YAML file. But we actually don't need to, because the Docker Compose file already has this folder added to its volume. This is also mentioned in my blog post. We'll move to the next step and grab a basic configuration block from my website. I'll copy this code for now. Of course, you don't need to copy blindly. Please read each line of code before you copy any piece of code from anywhere. This code snippet is setting our primary color. I'll use Google to find a hex color code. Since the primary color is defined using a hex code, let's choose an unusual color like pink. I'll copy the hex code and paste it into the file and save. Now you might expect the change to be instant, but it might not work immediately. It is working. So this time it is working instantly. If your color does not change immediately, you will need to run a command to clear the Redis cache. This is the command. I'll run it from the VS Code terminal. Once the command is run, the cache is now flashed or cleaned. After this, if you reload, your change should definitely take effect. To demonstrate, I will quickly change the primary color once again. Let's choose a different color this time. Paste it, and I will hit reload, and you can see the color hasn't changed. So we must clean the cache again, and now you can see the color have changed. Let's move on to the next step, which is enabling a few feature flags. This is often what people need the most. First, you'll notice that the default view of the dashboard in Superset is list view. Of course, we can set the card view as default. For that, we need to add this feature flag to our configuration file. I'll copy it and paste it into the configuration file and hit save. You might try to reload and expect it to work, but if you go to your dashboard, you will see it hasn't defaulted the card view. Again, we must clear the Redis cache. Then if I do a hard reload and now go back to my dashboard, you will see the default view is now card view. Our chart list will also now default to card view too. Congratulations! The next feature we'll enable is embedded superset. By default, if you go to any dashboard in Superset and click on the share option, you will only see two options, which is copy permalink to clipboard and share permalink by email. Now let's enable this feature flag. I will copy, paste and save it. As usual, my blog post also mentions that you must clean the cache. I'll do a hard reload in a new tab. And now if you look, an option called embedded dashboard has been enabled. If I click here, it asks me for domain where we want to embed the Superset dashboard. You can see this option was not there before. Let's enable the final feature flag, which is configure alert and report. If we go to setting now, you can see there are no extra feature list here. Now I will enable this feature flag and then save. I will clean the cache one more time, and now I will do a hard reload, and you can see a new option, which is alert and report. This appears right after the theme section, which was not available previously. So you have successfully enabled 3 feature flags, one after another, and also added a custom color to your Superset configuration file. If you check my blog post, you will find other feature flag enabled in more detail, including adding a time zone. You can use those as well. This is how you can enable the feature flags in your Apache Superset in a Dockerized setup. I'll keep today's tutorial short. Thank you for staying with me, and thank you for watching, and good night.